Conspiracy theory really is the lifeblood of a lot of these movements.
Conspiracy theories are blurring the lines of facts.
So much of conspiracy theory is it starts off with a grain of truth.
And they prey on those yearning for a sense of belonging.
Let's face it, for a lot of people in this country right now, life isn't going so well.
Tonight, we take a deep dive into the rise of conspiracy theories and how we get back to a society based on fact.
This Colorado mom is just trying to provide for her children.
We haven't had this type of stability or consistency in our life in years.
But that stability is about to be challenged along with dozens of others who are at risk of homelessness.
Now I'm going to be in the streets, no places to eat, no places to get clean water.
Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6 tonight. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Jessica Porter. As we head towards November's election, questions over election integrity remain at the forefront.
Now, almost all have been disproven as false conspiracies. But how do we get to a point in American history where conspiracies so easily pass for fact?
This comes as the Anti-Defamation League released a report showing nearly 1,000 Coloradans signed up to join the Oath Keepers. The ADL defines the Oath Keepers as a right-wing extremist organization based on conspiracy theories.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon live in the studio with us tonight. And Colette, you heard from a former Oath Keeper about the dangers of these theories.
And guys, I also talked with a professor of psychology at DU who says research suggests we're all more vulnerable to conspiracies in times of crisis, fear, or uncertainty. Now, those are all words that have been used at some point or another to describe the pandemic. And this isn't unique to any political party. Everyone finds a sense of belonging in their group, and that makes it easier to see people outside of that group as the other. But understanding is the first step to mending that disconnect.
Exciting, I know.
The little moments in life
When you get my super fashionable Crocs in there.
have ways we can all connect.
Crazy mountain towns, they tend to embrace their eccentric crazies.
But sometimes, when doing the most routine things, there's no avoiding a reputation.
Now people are getting to know me all over again as that used to be that Oath Keepers guy.
The Oath Keepers are defined by the Anti-Defamation League as a collection of right-wing, anti-government extremists.
Welcome back to the Colorado Switchblade. I'm your host, as always, Jason Van Tatenhove, coming to you from Estes Park, Colorado.
And Jason Van Tatenhove used to work as the group's national media director, leaving around 5 years ago.
And to be fair, at the time I was listening to a lot of conspiracy theory-based newscasts.
Now, Van Tatenhove is reflecting on why and how it all happened.
I've had a pretty good addiction to conspiracy theory, and conspiracy theory really is the lifeblood of a lot of these movements.
Throughout his life, he says he's always had a healthy level of cynicism.
So much of conspiracy theory is it starts off with a grain of truth. Often an agenda behind that. People become blinded to it. I know I became blinded to it.
He believes conspiracies turn dangerous when there's a potential for violence.
Most people don't know what's true. They don't know, maybe the election was stolen. It absolutely was not stolen.
Saying the name of the game is weaponizing conspiracy theories.
Fear is the gasoline that makes us all go.
And that mental health is a key issue in who extremist groups target.
That type of messaging really strikes home for people that maybe life isn't going so well. And let's face it, for a lot of people in this country right now, life isn't going so well.
He says there is a way to bridge the divide, now writing a book about his experiences.
I write about 2,000 words a day pretty consistently.
Knowing the power words have and hoping to help others understand what's at play behind such beliefs.
We're just not talking to family members anymore over the dinner table. And we need to get back to that. And it starts with listening and listening to what they're actually saying.
A way he thinks we can come together over the little things we can all agree on.
If it can make the world my daughters are going to inherit just a little bit better, then it's worth it.
Obviously, guys, those conversations Van Tatenhove was talking about, they aren't easy to have. At some points, they can be very difficult, especially with a loved one. But the psychology professor from DU tells me it's important to remember we all have bias, and being able to self-reflect and pull ourselves out of that bias, that's what makes us a genuine listener, and that's what's so important, especially on holidays like Thanksgiving, where we just want to see your loved ones.
Appreciate his insight into this, and nice work. That was very helpful.
Thank you, Colette.
So exactly what is extremism? I read through an email we received following last night's coverage of the ADL's report. Now, on the Anti-Defamation League's website, extremism is defined as a concept used to describe religious, social, or political belief systems that exist substantially outside of belief systems more broadly accepted in society. And as Colette mentioned there, extremism runs the gamut of the political spectrum. And the ADL cites the abolitionist movement as one that actually proved to be a good thing.
Extremism becomes a huge issue when it turns into violence. We looked into the data for you. The number of threats made against members of Congress have increased over the past few years. In 2017, there were around 3,900 threats against members of Congress. Last year, that number rose to 9,600. We want your opinion on this story. Where do you stand on the debate? You can submit your opinion when you visit denver7.com/youropinion.
A group of about 150 people tonight are at risk of facing homelessness in Denver. They've been staying at the Quality Inn Motel as a shelter for a year, but the hotel at Zuni and 27th is closing next week. And today, residents sent a letter to the Colorado Coalition of the Homeless asking them to extend their stay until the end of the year, because not everyone, of course, has their next move planned out. Here's Denver 7's Bayan Wang.
We haven't had this type of stability or consistency in our life in years.
It's the type of stability that's taken Michelle Colvard years to provide for her 3 children.
They are my strength. They're my strength. They keep me strong.
The kind of strength she needs each day
We have been chronically homeless.
and needed in years past.
I was escaping a domestic violence situation, so I drove here from Nevada to get away from that, and these people helped me.
A private room at the Quality Inn off Zuni and 27th became their new home, a motel turned into a shelter during the pandemic by the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless.
But we've been here consistently since September of last year.
Toward the end of August, more than 150 others in similar situations also lived there. On August 17th, they were all notified the shelter is closing in a month. So far, only 41% of them have plans to transition to other housing or shelters.
I'm wondering how I'm going to get my kids back and forth to school from wherever it is that we move, because he's already got to catch 3 buses from here to get to school.
Colvard's concerns are echoed by others like Mike Flores, struggling to plan next steps.
Because me and my wife are legally married, and they're trying to break us up, and there's no places for couples.
While there are other places that serve couples, Denver's Department of Housing Stability says couples leaving the Quality Inn may have to stay at separate facilities if capacity is full.
Our TV, our clothes, we might have to throw in the trash. And she's crying that there's nowhere to go. She's stressing that we're going to be in the streets.
The Quality Inn was never supposed to be a permanent stay for Denver's vulnerable population. FEMA money assisted the operation, funds the city is expecting to dwindle.
This was like so short notice. It's like everybody's just like kind of like in limbo, and we're just like wondering like where we're going to go or what we're going to do.
Bayan Wang, Denver 7.
FEMA funds are supporting 2 other motel shelters in Denver. The city says those facilities are serving about 140 people, but one of them will be closing December 31st.
Denver International Airport is in the business of expanding right now, and they're getting some help from the FAA. DIA is getting a grant of more than $4.2 million to fund a study for a potential 7th runway. Specifically, the airport needs a study of possible location as well as potential environmental impacts. The study could determine, too, that a 7th runway is not needed. And let's dig a little deeper here. DIA is currently experiencing some growing pains. The airport was named the 3rd busiest airport in the world in 2021. DIA expects more than 70 million passengers this year and to hit more than 100 million passengers per year in the next decade.
And DIA is already undergoing a lot of construction to help manage that growth. As you know, DIA plans to add train cars so more passengers can get to their concourses, and platform modifications to allow for longer trains. Nearly 3 dozen new gates also will open this year, and both Southwest and United are adding more daily flights.
A monumental day today for the Denver Sheriff's Department. For the first time in the department's history, there is a Latina who has risen to the rank of Major. Major Janelle Orozco was sworn in today. The rank of Major is a top management position in the department, overseeing different divisions. Orozco says she is excited to help move the agency forward and to be a model for other young people in our state.
It's such an honor to be able to be the first Latina and to be able to inspire others to come into this field, to be able to do all these things that I've been able to accomplish. And if I can do it, Anybody can do it, and I would really like to encourage each and every young individual that sees me to take that step and to pursue their dreams.
Orozco acknowledged the recruitment challenges her department and other departments are facing. She says that will be a top priority for her.
A huge drop in temperatures from yesterday, and they're not done falling.
When times are tough, these ladies go back to their roots.
We solve it over a cup of tea.
And the Queen's passing has created an opportunity to gather again.
And it gives a chance for us all just to get back together, to bond again over a cup of tea.
Plus, we're T-minus 72 hours from the Broncos season opener right here on Denver 7. We look at what to expect from Russell Wilson as he goes back to the place where it all started.